Okay, so now we're going to finish up the tissues by going through the different types of muscular tissues and nervous tissue. So we'll start with the skeletal muscle tissue. The major cell type is a muscle fiber. And sometimes you'll hear them referred to as myocytes. So for the three different types of muscular tissue, skeletal, cardiac, and smooth, you can write muscle fiber and myocytes for their major cell type. Skeletal muscle tissue is located in the muscles that attach to bones. Their function is to provide heat production and movement. Some of the features: long cells, multiple nuclei per cell, and striations. So what we're looking at here, this is one cell. And all of these circles here are nuclei or mitochondria. It's hard to distinguish them under the microscope, but kind of look like nuclei here. So these are multinucleated, elongated cells, and they have striations. The striations are the stripes that you see. And those stripes are where you have the perfect alignment of actin and myosin filaments, those microfilaments that allow for the contraction of this muscle. Now we'll learn about those once we get to the muscular system, but here you can see those striations. These features of skeletal muscle tissue are important, so I believe there's a little asterisk in the box. Make sure you write down all of them. If you think about it, muscle is made up of a lot of protein fibers, and the directions to make a protein come from the nucleus. So if you had this really long cell and you only had one nucleus, that would take forever to produce enough protein that would serve up the function of this entire muscle cell. So what we have are multiple nuclei, and then we have ribosomes that are associated with those so that protein production can happen at the entire length of this muscle. Smooth muscle is a little bit different. There are no striations. The cells have tapered ends. And we only have one nuclei per cell. Smooth muscle, although it does contract, it contracts in a different way. It contracts in more of a circular pattern, and that allows for the smooth muscle that lines your blood vessels to help regulate your blood pressure. So if we narrow or contract the smooth muscle, it's going to narrow that opening, which increases the pressure inside. So if we outline one of these cells, you can see that this cell kind of comes like this and goes like that. And all of the cells are kind of tapered at the ends like this, and then the next cell will connect like that and that. And this one kind of gets tapered down like this and like that. So because of the tapering of the ends, it kind of looks like they're smoothly flowing into each other. But this is smooth muscle tissue, and all of these are the single nuclei that you'd find inside of the cells. Cardiac muscle tissue has striations. So it has all these little stripes. There's 1 to 2 nuclei per cell. But then it has these dark intercalated discs. Those intercalated discs contain numerous gap junctions, and that allows for rapid communication between neighboring heart cells. When we want to contract the heart, a signal starts, let's say, up over here in a region of the atrium. And this signal gets spread to the atria. And all of the cells in the atria have to contract in unison at the same time in order to push blood down into the ventricles. Then as the atria are relaxing, the ventricles are going to contract. And the ventricles, all of those cells, have to contract in unison to push blood up and out of the heart. So in order to have this rapid communication between neighboring muscle cells in the heart, you need to have these intercalated discs. So cardiac muscle tissue is only found in the heart. Smooth muscle tissue, like I mentioned, it's found in the blood vessels, but it's also found in several, in the intestines and several other organs in the body. Smooth muscle tissue is kind of referred to as involuntary muscle tissue. While skeletal muscle tissue is sometimes referred to as voluntary muscle tissue. The function of all of these muscle tissues is just contraction, so it allows for shortening or contraction. So now we have nervous tissue. There are three major parts to a neuron: the dendrites, which receive the signal, the cell body, which produces neurotransmitters and receives this information in order to convert that incoming signal into a nerve impulse, and then the axon, which sends the nerve impulse to the neighboring neuron. So information comes in through the dendrites, it's processed in the cell body, and then it's sent down the axon. So that's what we're looking at here. They kind of look like little kites, and sometimes it's hard to tell where the axon is and where the dendrites are, but you've got the cell body, and then you've got these projections that stick out, and then you've got like the axons, which are pretty long. So that's what nervous tissue is made up of. Its location is in the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Its function is the transmission of signals. And features, just make sure you make a note of the features of the cells. So each neuron contains dendrites, a cell body, and axon. And then in addition to the neurons, you'll see these supporting cells known as glial cells. Glial cells are the supporting cells, while neurons are the major cell type.